Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Episode 4, Strange New World. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and come back after these titles. So Star Trek Enterprise, once again in the beginning, promised brand new things, a fresh start, really amazing. This episode we are greeted with a new planet. Everyone's a bit stir crazy, they want to get off the ship, they've been stuck there for a while, and we are promised a new world and it should be fantastic. What we end up getting is a grassy field with some trees. And we do get nice moments, like Archer brings Porthos down to the planet so he can pee on some trees, and it's a really fun sort of, I want to say, sort of relaxed beginning, and then we shift into Archer goes back up to the ship, leaving T'Pol with Trip and Leffler, who will be a recurring character in Enterprise, and she's actually really charming, and another ensign as well. The episode starts to get interesting when we start hearing things. There's a storm coming in, they have to go to a cage. One of the ensign who was there, the gentleman, goes off into a field and he obviously has to come back. He sees all these flowers. It's an interesting map painting. He goes back with them, they go into the cave and he starts hearing things. He starts hearing stuff going on. Then they all start acting weird, seeing things, hearing things. It's a play on sort of paranormal, not paranormal, but also like, I remember thinking back in the day that it was quite obvious what was going on in the beginning of the episode. I get they were trying to do something to sort of showcase the naivety of this crew. Jolene Blalock sort of holds her own there, so does Trip, having the argument in the cave, because eventually the psychoactive nature of the flowers and the pollen forces everyone to become paranoid and have trouble sort of getting along. The human group of the away team thinks T'Pol is conspiring with some cave monsters. We have a really good shot of them beaming up the ensign who was out in the flowers, because he's the first one to just go full on batshit crazy. He's out in the storm, the wind's pounding. They beam him up, and my God, I remember seeing this back in the day, and it was him filled with sticks and twigs and leaves that are sort of inside his body in order to, because the transporter hasn't been used that much. It is probably the most unique part of the episode. The transporter was used to beam him up, and it sort of mixed him and the leaves up. It's pretty horrific. I would have loved to have seen like some sort of like after treatment or aftercare, but they sort of just abandon him for what's going down on the planet. And we find out that the pollen's going on. It is affecting T'Pol, even though it's sort of lighter, and Archer tries to calm the situation through comms. But there is no aliens. It's all a psychotropic drug. Phlox figures that out by studying the ensign who they beamed up. And there's just this sort of overwhelming tension. Now, that's the basis of the episode. So the basic sort of emotional plot is the prejudice of the human characters. T'Pol is not as affected, but very much the human characters in this immediately start to turn on T'Pol as being the alien character and sort of point and accuse her. And we see that sort of dynamic coming. T'Pol's trying her best to keep everyone calm. She's trying to handle everything, but overall she can't, because she's the focus of their blame. So Archer has to call Trip in order to sort of settle him down. In the end, Leffler, I think Travis was there as well, because he's one of those characters who just can be there. And they're collapsed in the corner because the pollen's affected them. Trip's still up, he's got his phaser pointed at T'Pol, until eventually Archer sort of talks to T'Pol through Hoshi, and T'Pol shoots Trip, just to get him unconscious until they can be rescued once the storm has passed. It's it's an interesting look at the prejudice that comes from humans when they're in dire situations. And I think that was the overall goal, but it doesn't really work. Particularly, like the title being Strange New World, the only strange thing is they have pollen that makes you go crazy. And the actual alien planet doesn't look any different or anything special. And when you go, oh, well, they probably didn't have the budget to do that or the CGI to do that, there's episodes of TOS, of which they produced an alien-looking world without actually much money. TNG did it as well. It was, for some reason, they decided to use an actual location, which is fine, but then they go into a cave, and that is clearly not a location. It's a studio. It's probably the hell caves of Studio 9, and they, for some reason, the cave isn't given sort of an alien feeling or even a sense of sort of mystery about it. The cave is just a cave. There's nothing glowing in there. There's nothing alien about it. For an episode entitled Strange New World, there is nothing strange about this. You could have popped this, other than the transporter incident, you could have popped this into TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and no one would have batted an eyelid. And this is sort of a recurring problem with the first and second seasons, but there is some really shining episodes. I really enjoyed the next episode, for example. The next episode is really, really good. This episode is good. I enjoyed it. It's just looking back on it now, I'm a little bit jaded by the fact that, like, they could have done more with the New World, and they had done more before that. And it seems a bit weird to me that they've just gone for a field with some trees in it and some flowers and some pollen. The transporter thing, though, made the episode. The stick sticking out of him, the green leaves. Everyone's very unsure of the transporter. It would have been nicer to see this more often, but this episode shows it, and it looks fantastic. What did you think about Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Episode 4, Strange New World? I'm going by the Paramount Plus listing, which means that this is Episode 4. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Come back for Doctor Who on Sunday and Enterprise next week. Have a good night.
I don't think I'm quite ready to have my molecules compressed into a data stream.